this is a survey done by McKinsey, and they found that consumers are more likely to consider purchasing from brands that personalize, 76%. 78% of consumers are more likely to make repeat purchases from companies that prioritize, and 78% consumers would recommend their friends and family to use the same product when they get a personalized email or a personalized offer from an organization. So personalization clearly is the way brands need to understand their customers better and be able to personalize the experience for them. And we've also seen a huge increase in revenue, and companies that drive greater revenue impact from personalization are generally digital natives. We're all hearing about all these fintechs that are coming up and companies that are changing industries based on technology, using technology to differentiate the customer value proposition and the customer experience, and therefore winning and growing greater revenue. And it's absolutely incredible. If we look at companies that have used personalization have experienced faster growth because their customers are obviously spending a lot more. They're above average revenue growth comes from the personalization tactics and marketing actions that they're taking. And we've seen a huge growth, over 40% with companies that have actually adopted personalization. These are the critical success factors for personalization. You've got to identify the opportunity of how you could personalize your service. So for example, last year we helped Mawe in South Africa launch behavior-based insurance, and it was totally personalized based on the actual driving behavior of the customer. So we found an opportunity to identified to really totally change instead of selling a product and a premium that is applicable to all customers, it's based on my own personal behavior, what I do with it, how I drive my car, that my insurance premium will actually be totally personalized. So it's a very powerful way to start, especially during the pandemic, when consumers are voting with their wallet and they're very price sensitive. It's a wonderful way to be able to introduce a more personalized service. So if I'm driving less, I might get cashback rewards. If I'm driving more, I might pay a bit extra, but it's totally based on my personal behavior. We also, using technology at scale, help to rapidly activate and optimize the solution that we took to market. And we've used MarTech and data enablement to enhance the personalization and the customer journey, and really to be agile and understand customers and tap into their real motivation requires an agile operating model, which we believe is the fourth critical success factor, and capability building, the ability for you to actually have a team that sees what customers, analyzes customer data. We've got a dedicated business intelligence unit that looks after all the customer data and then finds opportunities to change behavior or to influence future customer behavior based on the data. And the return on investment has been absolutely phenomenal from personalization. 19% average uplift in sales from brands that personalized web experiences, and up to 20% increase in marketing ROI for brands who put data-driven personalization at the center of their marketing, i.e., let's understand what customers are doing, adapt, reinvent our business based on customer feedback, and tailor offers that will actually suit them and therefore will uplift our revenue. 78% of consumers are more likely to be a repeat customer if a brand provides targeted personalized offers for them. And I think that's absolutely critical, as we saw earlier. What can be personalized? We ask ourselves, what could we do to drive a better relationship with our customers? Maybe we can have a look at recipes that they looked at, or particular recipes that they're interested in, or they shared, or that they saved, or maybe there's some trending recipes that they might be interested because customers that look like that particular customer also enjoyed that recipe. So we can do lookalike audiences. We can look at particular food events when we're talking about QSR, or maybe the weather will impact the kind of food that I'd be interested in, because when it's really cold, I prefer to have soup, and maybe I want to have soup in summer because it's really hot. And then we come into context and we can look at popular recipes in my area, or maybe store deals that are available close to me, or any type of kind of user information. And I can look at my favorite dishes. We can get to know the customer and what they're buying on an ongoing basis, so we can recommend similar dishes that they might be interested in. And we can look at the identification of the customer, the diets, what are they advocating, what are their health metrics, what ingredients they like, and then make recommendations based on that. So those are just some opportunities for you to get to know your customer better and to personalize the experience. If we look at the various stages of personalization, it's not one size fits all. Okay, so you can't do one-to-all batch type of communication. One-to-many was the next stage, where we actually managed to send a lot of communication to the same people, maybe around different preferences that they may have. Then you had one-to-some, where it was very much driven by a rules engine. One-to-few, where it's more of collaborative filtering. One-to-one was a big trend when I was starting in marketing many years ago. And now we talk about one-to-moments, where we're using artificial intelligence, and that's what Nishan will discuss with you today, around how Netcore Raman, which is the artificial intelligence engine, makes a decision in real time about the location that I'm in, for example, and my preferences, and what might be nearby, that I might be interested in a special offer that might be nearby to where I am if I arrive in a shopping mall, if I'm arriving in a particular area, and then communicating that to me in real time using a very intelligent orchestration layer and a campaign management platform that's built into the Netcore tool. So this is really amazing to be able to give precise, offer based on where I am, what I'm interested in, and what people that look like me might be interested in buying. And we can use a lot of big data to be able to understand that. Now that we understood the various stages of personalization, there's a big discussion around hyper-personalization. And generally what you do is you look at your target and your audience and segmentation, and you build into your marketing platform rules that say, if one of my customers that belongs to my loyalty program arrives in Santon City today, please make him that offer based on what they bought last. We will give them a special offer to get them to come into our store. You can create those kind of business rules and orchestration layers to make sure that at every single touch point in the purchase and the customer journey, you can upsell or cross-sell or make the right recommendation that might increase the wallet share and lifetime value of that customer. And you can send real-time messages to customers as they are inside your app. You could do in-app notifications. If they're on a browser with Chrome, you could do browser push notifications, and you could use different channels. And obviously the analytics is the key to personalizing that experience for the customer, understanding them better, and based on the insight, being able to tailor those offers that we want to make to them. This is a great example of technology that allows you to do location-based personalization from a company called Mapster that we work with inside shopping malls specifically. You can see that a person's in the shopping mall. Based on their location, they get to answer a survey that's relevant to a particular product that they liked, or another offer for a product that they bought before, like you're seeing that H&M offer over there. And this is really the part that I wanted to cover in terms of how personalization, how powerful it is, how it could be used within your marketing strategy. And I'm very glad to have Nisham with me. And Nisham will take us through how Netcore addresses some of these brilliant personalization opportunities. And we'll open up for Q&A afterwards and take questions and be able to answer direct anything that you're interested in that you'd be ask us to share with you. So over to you, Nisham, if you want to share your screen. Great. Nisham, I think you're on mute. It shows that you're on mute.
Hi. Sorry.
There we go. No
Thank
problem.
you, guys. Thanks, Aaron. Hi, good afternoon, guys. I hope you guys can see my screen and can hear me loud and clear as well. Thanks, Aaron, for the introduction and introducing personalization, way forward for the brands and the marketers to move forward in terms of the AI and machine learning century, I would say. So before we jump into the AI part and the machine learning and the personalization, how it works and how the brands are utilizing this kind of technology, let me introduce Netcore Cloud. just briefly. We've been around for 25 years now. We've been present in 20 different locations. We've been present in Africa for the last 7 years now, working with DSG in South Africa as well, with Yaron and his team, which has been massive support in terms of South Africa market as well. This is just a glance of Netcore. Let me so just let me know if my slides are moving. These are some marquee customers that across the global. Sorry guys, the gamification, the GIFs are not working, so don't mind us. So these are some customers we have across globally in terms of acquisition we have done. You can see some brands like Tommy Hilfiger. We have some good brands from Nigeria working with banks as well. We have some e-commerce and fintech brands working in Southeast Asia like PayFast and Smart Friends. We also have big brands in India we are working with as well, and some in US and UK as well. Right. So let's talk about personalization. Right. So this is a full stack for Netcore, and how does that work as well? I'll cover it up in the further slides. So it's a customer engagement and experience platform. That's what everyone is talking about these days. How you can improve in terms of your CX, your PX model as well. So in terms of personalization, customer experience, your CDP, which is a customer data platform, your marketing in terms of email and SMS, your product experience as well is powered by AI, which is Raman Engine, which Yaron has mentioned earlier. And how does this work in terms of communication to your customers through different channels? Right. Right. So in today's world, let me give you an example. What is the major problem we have today on ground? If 100 customers coming on your website today, 98 people are leaving without transacting. So only 2% are making transactions on your website. It's a huge number, but it's a low number as well. So that's a major challenge today brand faces. And how do we improve that 2% to say 5% or 10% and increase in terms of retention as well? There's a lot of intense competition around globally. I'm sure Amazon is one of them in terms of e-commerce. You have eBay as well nowadays. In South Africa, we have a Takealot, we have Digital Mall. There are a lot of brands out there selling almost something similar. But how do you retain your customers? How do you give them customer experience? How do you give that PX, product experience model? So that is where technology comes in, where people lack intelligence. A lot of brands use different technologies to sum up the brand experience as well. So a lot of business are impacted in click-through rates, high bounce rates. Every marketers are demanding what's the ROI in my campaigns. So in terms of that, that's where we come in, and I'll take you to further slides. Right. These are Roman powered by AI engine. The AI based, how it works is patent AI based is an eyeball data. So if a customer goes on a website, suppose I'm on a digital mall today, which is powered by Netcore, and they are personalizing all the features on it, and it's an awesome experience, guys. You should go and check it out after this webinar. How digital mall is also doing customer experience, product experience, and personalization. How they're retaining their customers as well in terms of their market share in South Africa as well. So what is an eyeball data? Eyeball data is I come on a website, I come on a digital mall website, I see something and I click it. I see something, I don't click it. And I do not see and I do not click. These are the three types of data, which is an eyeball data. At Netcore today, we evaluate all three data. So if you come on a digital mall website, you have done all these things, we will evaluate as a customer, Yaron, as a customer on digital mall, how is his eyeball data working? So we can have better predictions on his behavior more than what other brands are doing. Personalizing across the entire user journey. That's the most important thing. In today's world, we do not even speak to our friends same tone, same manner. We are talking to our wife separately. We are talking to our girlfriend separately. We are talking to our colleagues separately. We are talking to our friends separately. It's the way people personalize their behavior these days. So of course, you have to treat your own customers individually the way they want to be treated. They want it to be targeted in terms of different marketing as well, in terms of personalization as well. At Netcore, we do no code fast, easy integration, less than an hour. That's our promise from Netcore. And we have done that for Digital Mall as well. So we have a live case study going there as well. These are some marquee names which I mentioned earlier as well, but they're using our personalization platform, which I already mentioned, the digital mall. We also have some Jack and Jones, which I'm about to show you a case study, which is one of the e-commerce brands in Southeast Asia, very famous brands in terms of like Zara, which is well known in across the globally as well. But Jack and Jones is very much famous in Southeast Asia, Pac only. We have Gas, we have Hangama, which is one of the music apps in India running very majorly on terms of music, like Apple stores as well. Right. What's a personalization? Let me just slide up. Omnichannel personalization today. How does this work? So basically, if you come on a home page, even a user which is not been identified before, if for example, Nolene is not a customer of Digital Mall today, goes on a Digital Mall website, she register herself. So that means she has given an email address and a name. I can personalize things to her. Now she'll be able to understand the category listing page, now product display page, the boutique page, in-app web messages, personalized notification, and personal emails. I will explain you next slides how each channel works in terms of personalization as well. Right. This is the product. This is a personal boutique page we have, right? And how does this work? In today's world, a lot of third-party data is being collected from our customers. So if you go on website, a lot of third-party data is collecting your data in terms of, and that's going to be a problem in future. Uh, this is personal boutique is the first party data. It's directly from a customer telling you what he likes and dislikes. Surely the gamification is not working, but because you can see on the slide that you can actually like and dislike the watches you are interested in. So then imagine if you like something, the next time all the similar watches will be shown to you directly. In case if you do not like something, you can cross this button and you can actually disregard it, and this kind of watches would not be shown to you and that personal boutique as well. So personal boutique is the way forward in terms of technology, in terms of personalization for every individual, how your boutique, and that is a direct customer giving you his feedback, what I want and what I don't want today. It's very important in today's world as well. It also helps you in terms of higher conversions. It also helps you in the higher click-through rates, and also in explicit feedback from a customer that how your platform, your website or mobile app is working as well in terms of the UI UX. Right. These are some personalized emails. So of course, if I'm on a Digital Mall website today and I say I want to buy a shoe and I log out, I do not buy a shoe because maybe my boss called me and said, Nisham, come and do this work first before you do your shopping. Right. So Digital Mall can send me a personalized email about a cart abandonment, telling me this shoe is available. Hi Nisham, with my name, and telling me this is available. It also tells me what other recommendations are available as is below. So in case if I bought a shoe, maybe they recommend me to buy a shoe polish for my black shoe. That's it. In terms of cross-sell recommendation as well, which is very, very important. Please understand, a lot of people are going out for acquisitions, new acquisitions, but they forget your existing customers is also retention. And if they're going to be loyal to your brand, you can actually increase the ROI as well in terms of your profit sharing as well. This helps you in click-through rates by 19 to 20%. Right. So these are some notifications which works. Sorry. So how does app notifications, in-app messages, and browser push notification works? So on the app notifications, as you can see, on the mobile app, if you go on the mobile app, I can actually push you a personalized notification saying that you wanted to buy a t-shirt, but you dropped off. How would you come back and return it and get a 10% discount and purchase this in meantime? As you can see, order now as well. It can also say a timeline as well. As you can see on in-app messages, this is only for 2 hours. That you want to buy something, there's a 2 hours messages as well available. As you can see on the push notifications as well, that this sale is live and it's going to be available for 3 days only on the Christmas sale. Right. A lot of people has I'm sure even married men and unmarried men and single ladies and not single ladies have downloaded Tinder to just understand how the fuss is about likes and dislikes. I'm saying Yaron is smiling, he's married. So I'm not sure his wife is listening to this conversation. So yes, everyone has now there are a lot of websites available, dating websites, but Tinder was one of the one who made it famous in globally. But if you see the UI UX, the swipe up and down is very important to understand how users are interacting. We can do that today on our website and M website as well. You can see how I can do likes and dislikes. Even same thing goes with Instagram. Instagram is one of these social media channels majorly used worldwide. You can see how you can like things, you can forward things and dislike things as well, based on the stories, based on your personalized things, what you follow, what you don't follow. I'm sure you also see different ads on Instagram these days because maybe you're buying something from them. Why a lot of people buy things from Amazon? Why is only Amazon e-commerce company profitable today? Because of their personalization engine, because of the UI UX, because of the keyword search as well. So we also have product search display as well. In case you type, say, bottle or water bottle, it only should show me on my website a water bottle, not showing me alcohol or any other products that I want to see. So that is a personalized product search engine as well that can be offered by Netcore as well. Right. So these are some recommendations how the product recommendation works as well in terms of based on your product tags. So if Nisham was on a digital mall, bought a plain white shirt, he bought a check shirt, he bought a jeans and a belt. Based on these four products, how can I, powered by AI engine, and tell him what is the recommended engine would work for you on the customer actions I've taken? Based on that, I can also send you a cross-sell, upsell email or maybe a push notification increasing in terms of your add to cart as well. That's what it does in terms of that. All right. So these are some, how would I say, promises from Netcore Cloud that we help in brands in terms of 12 to 15% increase in conversions. We also help in increase in 6 to 9% in and add to carts, increasing click-through rates, which is important for your brand in terms of 30 to 60%. The most important is the marketing ROI, which is every brand is looking at. Everyone is spending money, but even people are looking at the board members or the management or the CEOs, CFOs are looking at what kind of money you are bringing in on those of the marketing ROI, which is the most important. I'll show you one of the case studies that we have done for Jack and Jones. How much we have done it, I will show you on the next slides. Guys, we will take question and answers at the end. We are rounding up very soon anyway. So these are the touch points of a user journey. We personalize each and every user till he's registered and is your loyal customer. As I mentioned earlier, Nolene comes on Digital Mall. How does she register on your website and your mobile app? She gets a welcome series of emails, browsing on the website and searching products, which I mentioned earlier as well, in case she's searching for shoes for on a weekend to go away, or maybe she's been talking about beach wear today. She wants to go to beach. The weather is nice. Maybe she's looking to shop something on the Digital Mall. How does she add on the cart and exit the website? Does she do the purchase or not? Is she a subscriber, becoming a customer? Up to this level, we have personalized every single user journey for Nolene on Digital Mall. Now, where the profit comes in for a brand is not from the first purchase. I can go on website today, Digital Mall, and buy something. I'm just a customer. I'm not a profitable to a brand. When I come back and do another transaction, that is the time brand is the marketing ROI comes in. That is a brand now understands your customer, start making small profit in terms of e-commerce websites, and that's where the retention comes in, which we've been talking about. Acquisition is important, but retention is more important than the acquisition as well. And then we do milestone communication with your customers in terms of 1 year anniversaries, birthday emails, and all those things. Right. I won't be able to play these things, but this is the in-app and web engagement platform which we offer from Netcore in terms of rich push notifications. We will share the slides as well later. This webinar, they may be able to see the GIF part of it. This is in-app notifications that you can do surveys for your customers as well and understand your feedback, which is most important thing. This is in terms of nudges, which is the PX, which highlights the features that you want to show to your customer, educate them on terms of your mobile app as well. This is in terms of web messages on your website, in terms of your acquisitions, in terms of KYC, your newsletters. You can do these things in terms of your website as well. And it's an exit intent offer as well that you can use these things. Right. The success story, what we did for Jack and Jones. So what was the major challenge for Jack and Jones? As I already mentioned that we did it for 9x ROI. How we did it, that's what I wanted to show. These are the major challenges we had in terms of when we onboarded Jack and Jones. It's an offline store and it's an online as well. So it's both. It has outlets all across India and globally in Southeast Asia, but it's majorly online as well. As I mentioned earlier, product discovery challenge. This is a major challenge a lot of brands e-commerce faces in terms of search, because there are a lot of products available on the brand, on the website, that what are you looking for exactly, it's very difficult to do a product recommendation. Based on that, because you have low customer engagement on website as well, lack of personalization, which is the topic for today, and low conversion rate. These are the major challenges we had in terms of the challenges. I would go to the next slide, not this one, but this is the major things we deployed in terms of with the AI-led customer engagement platform. We ramping up the customer engagement in terms of triggering personalized emails, website, web messages, and web push notification based on user behavior and the eyeball data, which I mentioned earlier. This is the neuro engine, which I talked about in terms of the Roman, how you're browsing on the website and how you're taking things further in terms of your purchase or in terms of likes and dislikes, designing and deploying personal widgets, which I showed you about the personal boutique at the end. This is the major important slide for the strategy that we use. As you can see, we analyze the maximum traffic and drop-off points on the website. So you can understand, I come on a website, major users are maybe female, looking at the crop tops and they drop off. Now on that same page, how do I engage these customers who are dropping off? Introducing personalized product recommendations, widgets on the home pages. So whoever comes on the landing on the website, you are getting personalized homepage. How Netflix and YouTube works today. My Netflix page is different from Yaren today, because based on what he watches, it's completely different. I like horror movies. If you go on my Netflix page, it looks like a horror movie itself. So maybe Yaren is watching action movies and thriller movies, basically. His homepage will be totally different. So based on each individual user, your product recommendation page, your personalized product page would be different on your website as well. So this is what we did for Jack and Jones, and we are doing that currently for Digital Mall as well, which is live. In terms of showing personalized product recommendations, which is the product listing page, we also do the introduce personal recommendations based on the products you are browsing or you're buying, which increase in terms of the sales and the ROI as well. Let me show you the figures, which will be fascinating to a lot of users who are listening to today. This is what we did. We did a 3.9% contribution to the total product ads, which is a lot. Imagine you have millions of customers coming on your website. 3.9% is a huge number. In terms of 2.6% in through personalization, contribution to the revenue. I'm sure the people are looking at why 2.6, but if you imagine 1 million customer comes, 2.6 is 200,000 people almost. Increase in revenue by product-less display is 25%. This is a major breakthrough we had in terms of e-commerce. And they are currently live using our platform as well. And all the users who are listening to this webinar can go and check it out, how the personalization engine works for you based on, please register on Digital Mall as well. They'll be able to understand in terms of the user experience we are giving, in terms of the product experience, in terms of the customer experience as well. Thank you so much, guys. I guess we will take over from here to open up question and answers. And I'll hand over to Yaren to take it forward first thing.
Thank you, Nisham. That was great. And I'm sure there's lots of questions, so we'll start filtering them. I think some questions came through. Let me just have a look. Let's see, room chats. Okay. Getting to the chat. If you would like to network and connect later, please let us know how to reach you. Enjoy the session anyway. Okay, so I don't see any questions that have come in specifically for us, Nisham.
Okay.
So maybe we should continue, and just maybe I'll ask you a question, which was intriguing for me. I mean, these days you've got so many different channels that customers use, right? They might start an interaction via the website, and they'll, interact with somebody maybe via the app when they're somewhere else. Does Netcore provide like a single customer view and a customer data platform? And how do you work with third parties as well to be able to do better personalization, enriching data? And maybe you can give us some of your experience, because you've worked with lots of different brands in Nigeria and in India, and share with us how you've successfully helped them.
Thanks, Aaron. So yes, very good question. Yes, the Netcore today is giving an omni-channel platform, which is a CDP. So to understand the data points for each channel, that is very important in today's world, because everybody's not available on email or SMS today. Everybody's available on different channel, different devices at different time as well, right? So Netcore provides you the entire user journey in terms of email, SMS, WhatsApp, website, and mobile app engagement to understand the unified view of a customer. So if I want to understand Yaren is available on Digital Mall, he opens my website on Tuesdays after 5 p.m. and he's usually active there maybe twice in a month. If he's live at that moment, I need to push him some sort of notification to engage him in that moment because he's live there. If I send him an email, say 5 p.m. on a Monday, he's not going to look at it because he doesn't engage with me. So it's very important to understand each individual user, how they're performing in terms of your channel usage and what time as well. That's where we come in Netcore. We give you a full CDP platform to understand the data touch points. Based on your behavior, based on the AI, we can now push campaigns to individual users at their preferred time and on their preferred channels as well. So that's what we do today. And we've been doing that for different brands across Africa and Southeast Asia and India as well. Yeah, and I guess some questions coming up. A lot of questions have just popped up. I've been seeing.
Yeah, there are. So Militia asked about what's our view on companies like Takealot's digital strategy. That was one of the questions from Militia. Maybe you want to take that one.
All right. So Takealot is one of the top e-commerce brands in South Africa. They are pretty doing well as well. In terms of personalizations, that's why I mentioned earlier, right? I wouldn't mention Takealot, but a lot of brands have different tools available to them. So they might have a tool for Google Analytics, they have a tool for personalization, they have a tool for their marketing campaigns, they have a tool for product recommendations. But these are not married. I'm not sure what Takealot uses, but I've actually experienced them. They have been pretty good, but these things are not married together because the data is in silos. That's where we come in, and that's why we said recommended go on Digital Mall and try out how these data are stitched up and how it's been recommended based off personalizations. That's what I would say on terms of that question. And we offer you
thanks
out as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Nisham. The other question from Paul is, when is personalization too much? Some customers may find personalization invasive. How do you do it in a more subtle way? I can start and answer that to give Nisham a bit of a break, and then maybe Nisham can add his perspective as well for many years of working in the space. I think that, it's all about permission marketing. If you haven't read the book Permission Marketing by Seth Godin, I highly recommend it. It was one of the first books I actually gave to all of the Digital Mall customers in the late 90s, because that's more or less when Seth Godin wrote it. It was all about opt-in marketing and the ability to actually get consumers to tell you more about themselves, because generally when we go online, we don't like to fill in forms. We don't like to tell the brands too much about ourselves when we start the relationship. But once we start building a relationship, we've learned now that the more the brand knows about us, the more personalized the experience can be. So if the experience is rewarding, and if you're asking customers for information, make sure you use the information to personalize the experience. What we don't like as consumers is when brands ask us to fill in all these forms and then they never use the information to make our life easier. But if the life gets easier and you can get people to, over time, we call it a drip aggregation strategy. If we can, over time, allow consumers to tell us more, and then as they tell us more, use that information to make life easier for them, to make their purchase with us maybe a repeat purchase a lot easier. So maybe the first rule of one-to-one marketing is you don't want to repeat details about yourself twice. So we remember the delivery address and ask you, do you want us to deliver to the same address or previous address? Or we might ask you, do you want to use the same credit card that you used last time? And then you can just enter a couple of digits and be able to use that instead of entering the full credit card details. So the more we use the information that we give them, the more we allow customers to opt in, the better the result will be and the better the lifetime value and frequency and wallet share of that customer will be over time. Nisham, I'm sure you've got some things you might want to add to that.
Sure. I would say, personalization is by choice. So when you agree, a customer agrees to get those kind of notifications, you're allowing a brand to send you these personalized recommendations. I have a choice today to give my data yes or no. Right? So brands, when you choose to give that personalization, so of course, that's why we said as well, we will only personalize details for you on the channel that you are preferred to. A lot of brands make that mistake. They go all out and pushes same sort of communication through different channels. That is very annoying for a lot of customers. So imagine if I get a offer from a brand talking about buy a ticket to Vegas, and I get an SMS, I get an email, I get a push notification on mobile app, I get a website, everything. I've like 5 different things. I've got the same things. But imagine if I brand knew where to personalize my channel at what time as well, which will really impact in terms of your loyalty, in terms of your customer lifecycle management, in terms of your customer loyalty, that he'll be a regular customer. That's what the brand needs to understand these things.
100%. Then there's a question about real-time data and whether we can incorporate real-time data into personalization. I did touch on it a little bit in my presentation when I spoke about location-based personalization. I mean, location-based personalization is the ideal example of real-time data. I know exactly where you are, and based on how you walk in the shopping mall, I might send you different specials that are nearby to you. So we definitely can incorporate third-party data. In fact, Netcore has got a micro web services architecture which allows you to integrate lots of third parties and be able to enhance and enrich the data that you have about your customers. And there's a lot of DMP, data management platforms, that also provide in real-time information about customers that we can integrate to, and we provide the whole ecosystem and a turnkey solution for brands. There was also a question around POPIA, and POPIA being the Protection of Personal Information Act, and we are GDPR compliant and POPIA compliant, so that's very important. Netcore globally makes sure that they comply with even California Act in the US. All of the privacy laws and security of information is very important for us. We adhere to the right to be forgotten. If a client just wants to delete all the information immediately about themselves, they can. Or the right to manage your information and be transparent about your information, which is really, really important. In fact, DSG has got a company called Optional.me that we started specifically to manage permissions, marketing, and consent, and allow customers to be able to manage their identity. And you'll be able to talk to me or one of our team members about that as well, which complements the usage of Netcore. So as a system integrator and the first line support for Netcore in Africa, we provide a whole bunch of professional services. Some of it might be POPIA compliance, helping you make sure that you manage the data and everything else, which is really important, and how to use the data subtly for personalization without being overwhelming. So we do that as well, and we can help you with a strategy, the go-to-market. In fact, Nisham and I feel so strongly that the technology can add value to your business. We're even willing to run proof of values and show you the capability of the technology. So if any of you are interested, please feel free to drop us a note, an email, or type your details here in the chat box, and one of our salespeople will be in touch with you and arrange that post the conference. There was also another question now for Moisol. How can personalization AI engines be utilized in content production such as ebooks, webinars, and blogs? Okay, so ebooks, webinars, and blogs, that's an interesting one. I think that from my perspective, and Nisham, please feel free to jump in and give your view, but from my perspective, I think with ebooks, if similar to what Amazon does in terms of understanding you as a customer and saying, you've read a book from this author, why don't you download the latest ebook from this author he's just published. That's a wonderful way to do personalization, because remember a key detail about who you are, and then we can personalize that communication to you. And the AI engine will see, oh, we've just published a new book. Who's read a book by this author before? And automatically send communication to those people. When it comes to webinars, it's slightly different. I think it's about understanding your customers and being able to tailor, content like this that we're doing today. I think this request came from a lot of our salespeople who felt that our clients are more interested in getting better in their one-to-one marketing and personal marketing with their customers, and hence why we ran this webinar. So I guess we're listening to our customers, but there isn't much that you can do inside the webinar to change it. We just can discuss the topic and everything else. So I guess ebooks is very relevant, webinars, blogs. What you must do is maybe create a chat facility to interact with your audience, ask them what they're interested in, and maybe tailor your next blog to be in line with what people have asked for. Nisham, if you maybe want to add to that.
Sure. So content product, in terms of personalization, ebooks, yes. So a lot of people go on Amazon. In case you buy a book saying from any one of the authors, it allows you to also give you a product recommendation. That's what it comes in. The users who have bought X books, they may be marketing one page by a user. It also tells you to buy this sort of books as well that users have brought in terms of marketing as well. But in terms of webinars and blogs, it is still, as Yaron mentioned, technology is still evolving, right? And it's an everyday challenge as well. But in terms of webinars, blogs, the web chat would be the good way to understand the personalization for your users. But yes, in terms of product, in terms of content, this could be done in today's world, and we are doing it currently for a lot of brands as well.
Yeah. So there's one more question. It's great that we're getting all the questions from the audience. Please keep them coming. That's the most interesting part of the webinar, is the questions from the audience and how we respond to them. So Bongani was asking, does personalization vary per interaction, or is it based on optimized real-time data? It can be both. And I think that we can also personalize the way we communicate with customers based on what they've opted in for. So customers will ask to opt in for email communication. We'll only send them email if that's what they opt in for. And when we send them the email, we'll only send them email offers. I think Netcore sends over 50% of the emails in India. Is that correct, Nisham? I think it's something like that.
It is.
And you can imagine that a lot of these big brands used to send emails that were the same, only personalize the name, dear Yaron, and then Nisham gets the same email that says, dear Nisham, but we get the same offers. What you're able to do with Netcore is you're actually able to personalize and make sure that I will only see products specials that relate to things that I've expressed interest in, or I bought before, etc., or I liked, or I put it in my wish list, etc. And then the email that Nisham will get, as he mentioned earlier, will be totally different with the products that he's interested in. Just like the front page of the website can be, so can be the email. And our ability to do that per interaction channel and maybe have different messages that are tailor-made, but do mass personalization at scale, I think is what makes Netcore different and the solution. And hence why we're so confident that any brand that will take it to market will succeed and grow their return on investment from their marketing, as well as increase their conversions and all the wonderful KPIs that we showed earlier that our brands that are using Netcore globally are enjoying. Nisham, you might want to add a few things to that.
I'll take the next question, Yaron, because I think we have a lot of questions coming in. So
okay, so the next question is there any feedback collected from customer based on their personalization preferences? And there's one that talks about artificial intelligence playing such an important role in the e-commerce space. Would you say the contact center human agents will phase out eventually, or is this still an important part of the customer journey?
All right, so let me take the second question. So the human agents will never phase out, but what needs to be involved in human agents as well is in terms of AI platforms. So the marketers are using the same platform to send out the communications. Imagine you call your bank, and your bank customer relationship manager already knows that you're looking for an SME loan. That can be very personalized, and that could be done from Netcore as well today, based on some API integrations. So agents will be always there, the contact center, the customer journey, because it's a very human touch is always important. That is never going to phase out ever. But of course, the AI plays a lot of part in terms of how we engage with customers. Imagine you calling a customer contact center and now explaining the entire problem statement to the contact center. But imagine if the contact center already has your problem statement, and maybe when you're calling, he has a solution for you. That is the customer experience we are talking about in terms of AI. And yes, that can be possible as well.
Excellent. The next question that came through was more around personalization helps to transmit messages. However, if the customer wants to ask a question, how do we handle that, and the integration with chatbots, and what is our opinion about the usage and success of chatbots? So I'll start. We feel that chatbots are great, but they've got to be intelligent. You know, if a chatbot can only deal with certain aspects, it could frustrate you because it'll ask you a lot of questions before it actually gets to know. So the way you design the customer journey when it comes to chatbots is really, really important. DSG was quite fortunate to be able to handle the elections in South Africa in 2003, 2004. And most of the questions were the same. 62% of the inquiries were, am I registered? Where am I registered? How do I get to my voting station? And if you can deflect a lot of these calls via RVR, via chatbot these days, via an ATM, SMS, you're reducing a lot of cost to serve from your customers. So chatbots are really powerful. And if you can use them to deflect some calls or help customers to help themselves, especially the millennials these days, I find love chat. And they're used to doing in-app chat, and they're used to chatting on WhatsApp a lot to their friends. So they prefer to chat than write a phone call. And if you can resolve that quickly with a chatbot that will give the answer, I think that will be absolutely great. And it's the way you design the chatbot that is very, very important. It's got to be intelligent. And you must always, when you design your customer journey, allow the customer to opt out and speak to a real human operator as well, if they need to, because we believe that's best practice. Sometimes the chatbot is not intelligent, so it could be a complex inquiry. As long as your human operators are dealing with the complex inquiries, you're doing well to deflect the mundane conversations that can be handled by a chatbot, can be handled by a chatbot. I hope that kind of answers the question for you, but Nisham, if you've got anything that you'd like to add, please go ahead.
I agree with you, Aaron. So in today's chatbot is helping a lot of brands in terms of WhatsApp, in terms of web WhatsApp, web chats on your website. It a lot of reduces your traffic to your call centers because a lot of basic questions are done via chatbots only. One, there is something is given in terms of which a human intervention is needed. Of course, we can always take over on chatbots and answer those kind of questions. One of the questions a lot of brands use is chatbot. What is your opinion on the usage and success? There's a huge of chatbot actually. Does it transmit the messages? Yes, it does. How do you engage with users? It's feeded by AI. It's a machine learning, right? So basic things are already feeded. The more questions you're asking to a chatbot, the more intelligent it is getting actually. So in future, that's the way forward anyway. And when there is a human intervention required, someone is always ready to take it over and answer your question as well in terms of your personalization, product recommendations, or how do you engage with your customers as well in terms of users.
Yeah, there was a question around most of the examples that we gave are business to consumer examples. Obviously, they have the most interactions and it's quite tough. Can we assist with Netcore in a B2B environment as well?
Sure, we can.
To improve the one-to-one communication, I guess, with all your clients and make right recommendations on upselling, even in the B2B environment, it's important. I think there's lots of applications, but it's something that you tend to be stronger, I think, Netcore in the B2C environment than the B2B environment. Am I correct?
It is correct, but we've been doing it for B2B as well. So in B2B, you do not have millions of data, right? So you cannot do a lot of things that you're trying to do with B2C because that's where the strongest part comes in. So we have some brands are using for B2B. So in terms of your personalized email marketing, in terms of if your website traffic is just 5,000 and you do not have that kind of products, maybe you'll use AI-based, AI-based personalization. So we're doing that currently in Nigeria for some banks as well. They do not have much products to display, so that's why you can't do algorithm-based. But on the AI-based, we can do content and the image as well. So if I come on a bank and I'm looking at savings accounts, next time I come on the bank website again, it will show me the banner for savings account itself and the content as well. We can go this far, but we cannot go further in terms of personal boutiques and everything. So for B2B as well, it's possible, but it's limited because you do not have that kind of data to play with.
100%. There was a comment from Nicole there around Amazon Web Services, and the ability to offer chatbots from there, which I think is really great. So it's really built into the cloud. It's inherent. It's native. I think it's a good service. I think there's lots of different chatbot technologies out there, Nicole, and we'd love to. We're watching Amazon obviously carefully, but there's lots of other good players. If you'd like to learn more about chatbots, our team offer a variety of solutions that are really, really exciting as well. Then there was a question around what do we think is the deciding factor? Is it people, process, or technology? And I think that's a great question, because I in the 23 years that I've been the founder and group CEO of DSG, I've seen that every single project that we do is always about the balance between people, process, and technology. It's we can give great insight. Women love the statement, a fool with a tool, still a fool. If you're not going to use the data to personalize, if you're not going to work hard at it, if you don't have the right people that know how to use the data, well-defined business processes, potentially the technology is not going to add any value. But if you're going to create the right balance between having the right people, the right processes, defined to support everything that you're doing, so you can be agile. Earlier, I spoke a little bit about how important it is to be agile from a personalization perspective. That's very much process and people. It's not so much the technology. Technology is actually quite easy to manage, and it's about how integrated it is to your customer experience that will make a big difference into your success or failure. Nisham, maybe you want to add some
Sure. For me, the deciding factor is you can have a lot of good platforms. Of course, it also imagine you do not have right people and the process in place, but you have a Netcore platform. It would not allow you to still get what you want. So it's all about the right process in place with the right technology and the right people. Of course, people can always be trained in terms of skills. That is the deciding factor. Process is very important for me in terms of how would I say it, for brand to grow globally in terms of the world that you're looking for profits, in terms of your achievements, your success ratios, and as well. Process defines a lot of brands actually. So that is my deciding factor. Of course, process, then the people and the platform as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't see any more questions coming through, and I think we're almost coming to the end of our webinar. If you have more questions, of when you think about it later, you want to have a discussion with us, please feel free to reach out. We're here for you. We'd love to work with you. We'd love the opportunity to have a further discussion with you around personalization and one-to-one marketing and how to get it right and be subtle and build a long-term partnership with your clients that drives the right frequency and wallet share and helps you grow your business. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time today. And Nisham, thank you so much for your wonderful insights and presentation. And it's an absolute pleasure to work with such a great company like Netcore in Africa, and really excited to see some of you become clients and play with the technology. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, guys, for attending this. Thank you for your opportunity as well, Yaron. Thank you so much. We will be sending this webinar recording and the presentation within 24 to 48 hours. Who has registered, who has not registered as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks. All the best. Have a good afternoon. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.